how do you actually play against mages? Now this meta has been insane, and every single match you have one raccoon mage in the bowling and you need to learn how to deal with them. And compared to the way that you play against ADCs, it is very different because here you don't really want to scale. The most important thing that we gotta start with in early game is that when you are dealing with these raccoons, you cannot let them walk up to the wave, okay? You cannot let them actually get early than you. You gotta zone them out as much as possible because the thing that they have is just one ability and that's it. If they mess up that ability, you can run them down. This happens the same thing with Lux, with Six, with Karthus, with Syndra. Even Syndra with his Q and short cooldown and this Karthus with Q and short cooldown, you can pretty much sidestep that permanently. And one good way to be able to do that kind of thing is making sure that you're playing the match with ghosts, you know? That's very, very important. Barrier might allow you to just run them down like a madman and tank everything, but ideally you want to use the ghost not only to avoid damage, but to be able to dish out damage. That's the most important thing because you might block 200 HP damage with barrier, but with ghost, you sidestep that, you're gonna block, steal or avoid that 200 HP, and on top of that, you are gonna be able to dish out damage altogether too. Now on this spot, it's very tricky to get carried away and you start thinking, I gotta spam the wave, right? I gotta out attack the wave all the time. In reality, you gotta be mindful of what is your support and how you want to engage. For example, here I have a Pantheon, and if we get close to them and we engage, we can pretty much run them down. Now it's not perfect, the game starts in a very messy way and the jungler and overall the whole team is not really doing that great. But because I am playing a good build right now, this time I actually am playing meta build, I am still able to take over the game even if the early game is a little bit difficult, you know? And here what I was doing was actually a mistake because I did not expect him flash in the last second, they holding all the summoners last second, and I thought we were gonna be able to secure this down if Pantheon just presses E into E, you know, like insta-cast into cancel that thing. But the brother hold it down and actually end up missing that damage, so we couldn't get him. Regardless, still the same mental applies, right? Like we are not just trying to escape, we are trying to turn around this as much as possible. And this time the Pantheon does that, gets a kill, and I trade with a Karthus. So this is what I mean, right? Like even in a situation as messy as this, your main job, your main way to win these matches is actually gonna be being mindful of just guiding these raccoons, fighting these raccoons. You are not playing here for your tier item, you're not playing here for your second item, bro. And what we're doing here is taking over the match just through guiding and through damage, okay? Now, talking about the build and the item, Stormrazor is one of the best, if not the best item. Now, but if you think about that, Stormrazor is more like you can get it very easy if you're winning already. If you are not winning, it's gonna be very, very hard to get that item. So if you get a BSR first, might as well get a Stormrazor. There is nothing wrong with that. If not, just go Collector, you know? And then the second item, if you are in your Raccoon Elo, on your Employee Elo, you know? Anything below Master probably, very Employee. Ideally, I would recommend you to go LDR Mortal Reminder second, bro. Like, there is no need to go Infinity Edge. Why not Infinity Edge? Because that thing, like I said before so many times, does more damage than LDR if the enemies are like below 50 armor, below 60 armor. So more often than not, you're gonna find scenarios where every single one of the enemies are already getting 70 armor, 80 armor just through base armor without even buying armor items. Like for example here, Galio, Jarvan, Tryndamere, they don't even have to build armor. They are gonna be very tanky and I'm not gonna be able to do damage to them with Infinity Edge. And there is another thing there too, which is that Infinity Edge is very, very expensive. And that brings me to the same topic as Stormrazor, which is so interesting, bro. Like these topics are very, very interesting. I am so thankful of having Coachless and having that website and being able to analyze these types of things. But one of the most important things is that if you're winning the game already, Like Infinity Edge is the best of the best you can get, right? But if you are in a position where you are not taking over the match, Infinity Edge is just gonna hinder your win rate, right? Like it's not gonna be that good. One good example of that is that Collector has like 0.2 win rate probability add, but it comes from a 47% win rate to a 48% win rate, right? Like barely nothing. And then Stormrazor is almost 1% win rate, 1% win rate probability add, but it comes from 51% win rate to 52% win rate. So you can tell right away what is the point there, you know? That means that the item is not really gonna decide how you're gonna win the match, but it is just gonna make you, whatever you are doing right now, even better. Like if you go Stone Razor, it's gonna allow you to play the game even better. But chances are that if you are getting Stone Razor first, that means that you are already in a good position on the match, which translates very easy into good way control to farm more, not dying at down moments that will force you to back and not be able to peel the PFs or fears. And on top of that, being very mindful on how you wanna kite to be able to punish mistakes, which, believe it or not, brings me back to my 3 rules. First rule, avoid every single death. Second rule, farm every single minion. And third, punish every single mistake. So it's very fun. Anyway, now that we are with 1-1-1, we need to be very careful on making sure that we are not gonna int more, you know? Mages are not as difficult as in taking over the match if they get ahead, but it's more like the opposite. It's like if they get a little bit of advantage and you don't know how to punish them, you don't know how to chase them down, the match is gonna be no interactive, right? Like you're not gonna be able to play the match. That's just probably what's gonna happen. So you gotta be very careful on the way that you are dealing with mages in spots like this. Because here, for example, one of the best ways that you can deal with mages playing Aphelios is going back to the roots of the champion, right? Not really the attack, speed, fighting champion, mindful of dodging spells and auto-attacking all the time, but more than anything, the Infernum Calibrum, the one-shot builds, the Collector Fierce, absolute focus, gathering storm, min-maxing your damage. No matter what happens, you're gonna be able to take over the match. I do believe though that cashback and triple tonic is very useful, very strong, but you have to ask yourself a question here. Are you really gonna win the match before 30 minutes? Like if you are gonna win the match before 30 minutes, probably cashback and triple tonic is the best way, right? But if you are in Raccoon Elo, if you're in unemployed Elo, more often than not, you are gonna have to deal with scenarios that even if the enemies were ahead, they don't know how to close the game. And even if you are ahead, probably you don't know how to close the game, you know? So in those spots, you would be winning the game more consistently and be able to get more advantage into the game just by playing Gathering Storm and Absolute Focus. Alright? It's just that simple. And now here I'm going Alacrity because I was actually checking out how much in-game I can get through this, because playtest steel caps is not meaningful for me since I'm playing against some mages this time, you know. So might as well just get Alacrity and get my healing through the Glutinous Creeps. Pretty good. Also, as you saw in that last team fight, I was able to kill these Cardos just by kiting, you know? Like we just kited with Ghost and then we kill him. Otherwise, if Pantheon engages like that, I don't have Ghost. You know what happens? I cannot auto-attack the Cardos. He's gonna press Q in front of me. And you know, and I know, and everybody knows, playing Aphelios with 325 move speed, bro, is so bad. It's so awful. Now, here we are on the classic 10 minutes game where jungle decides to start coming bot lane, the support roams to mid lane for good reasons, and we have to deal with this tricky scenario where our wave sucks and they are fighting. Now we know Jaron is here, right? And the reason I step back is because I have flash and I can root him under tower and auto-attack him one more time to get my PTA proc. So I can bait him very easy that way. On top of that, I just press Q and I start healing. Cartus flashes away so we don't catch him. So far so good. But it's just being meaningful, you know? Being meaningful of what is actually happening. Might messing up a little bit there. Who cares? Who cares? Takes the stuff. It is what it is. But this pattern repeats again and again through the match. And they did respect you, you know? Like auto attack, auto attack, auto attack. I really don't know if they are not used to doing a lot of to getting a lot of damage there. By the way, I was playing double adaptive force here. The main reason is because I was playing Ghost and I already had a good engage. If I had a bad engage, this would be probably not ideal, you know, would probably not be the best scenario ever. Because in a spot like this, if I have a bad engage, right? Like if I have nobody who can help me out, like, and I'm playing with an enchanter, which would be the worst position actually, then I would need extra move speed, right? Like in that type of gameplay, that type of enchanter setup, probably my best decision would actually be just getting like Stormrazor pass or get like Phantom Dancer with move speed rune shard, you know? Because if we don't have engages, I am the one who has to create engages. And if I have to create engages, then what I have to do is get move speed. So in that case, that would be the best. But if you have some engages and the enemies are bound to chase you, not just to poke you because we are dealing against 3 melees, then getting Collector, getting double adaptive force, getting all the artists quickly is not bad enough. Especially if you are not comfortable kiting. Now we get a combo there, Calibrum Q, Infernum Q, it's so easy, bro. Crescendum Q actually. Crescendum Q into Calibrum Q. And the probably cannot play the game because of the collector, you know? Another very important thing is the level up, alright? The level up is very important because you start with W first, W level 1, 2 points in Q, and then max E. E is the thing that gives you the most amount of damage, especially if you're trying to one-shot enemies, you know? In every case, gives you the most amount of damage. Auto attack, trying to chase them down, cannot really do much. So we're fighting as much as possible, but in a mindful way of what is our win condition. I just don't go and chase down the German, you know? Why is that? Not because I'm not strong, but because I don't really have the weapons to kill him. The main weapon to deal with this guy is actually Crescendum. And Crescendum, I'm gonna be able to take over this match and kill them all, you know? But I need to be mindful of my positioning. Now, Gravitum Auto into Gravitum Q, Infernum Auto into Infernum Q, and the barrier just disappears. The damage I have is just a lot, and a lot of people might be asking here, what do you do Gathering Storm instead of Cashback, right? And the answer is so clear, bro. Look at that, 11 damage from Absolute Focus. Now, you might think, but I don't really have Absolute Focus that often, you know, because I get low. Well, that is the problem, bro. That is the problem. If you are not really paying attention to your positioning, you are taking unnecessary damage. It doesn't work that well, right? Now, with this meta, with the Glutinous Creeps, dealing with Mage's bowling, more often than not, you're gonna be high HP because you're gonna be sidestepping stuff, right? You're gonna send it with a ghost and you're gonna be able to play more team fights and get more value of Absolute Focus. Doesn't mean that Cashback and Triple Tony becomes bad, okay? It's just not that ideal if your match is constantly going to 30 minutes. Because if it goes to 30 minutes and then it goes to 40 minutes, let me just tell you, you go Gathering Storm, Absolute Focus, you're gonna be Thanos at that moment of the game, okay? Now, in this spot, very tricky too. We don't wanna use seed bowling and farm, okay? We wanna impact the game. And I don't mean this as trying to save my team here. No, we're using them, okay? That's very, very important. That's another key part of playing the game mentally, knowing what is your win condition. My win condition is not helping my team here. As ADC is never helping your team. Your win condition is carrying the game. If you rotate, it's to get a kill. If you rotate, it's to get waves, to get plates, to get more value, you know? For example, here, I went mid lane because I saw Ari doing nonsense there, right? And then what do? I punish the Galio. Then I go bot lane because I see Viego going bot lane and Cartus there. So what do? I make sure that this Viego doesn't die in a meaningless way. Either way, I save him and then he decided to go back in. So very important for you guys to notice those spots on my Pantheon, my Viego, my Ari messing up, because that shows you right away that most of these matches that you win like this, it's not because your team carries you, right? It's not because your team plays 1v9. Now it's because you keep holding the game as much as possible until they make a good play. And when they make a good play, you just take over the match. Because that is the moment that you are strong enough to capitalize on the good play that your teammates made and just close the game out of that, you know? Mentally, you gotta be very, very aware of that kind of thing. Now, getting Mortal Reminder second because I need that armor penetration, I need to reduce the healing, and I'm trying to go the highest damage output possible, especially needed against Jarvan, Trinta, Mergalion. So it's very, very important, depending on what champion you're facing, not necessarily thinking about there being tanks or not, but if they are gonna get armor or not, you know? Another example, Hex Optics is something that a lot of people like to go. I have noticed that from the Raccoon pools that we have done, the questions. And that item actually does, like I said before, less damage than Collector, right? Like if you're below 300 range, you are actually gonna do way less damage than Collector. And there are several scenarios where we have to get as close as possible because of the crescendo. Not every time, but almost every time. So Collector is a way more consistent way to play this type of matches because we have more damage. Also, another thing, if you enjoy this chroma, please let me know in the comments, and I'm gonna tell you how you can actually get it for completely free. Okay, just drop a comment saying that you like the video and that you like the chroma, and I'm gonna tell you how to get it. Okay. Crescendo ultimate, and you see, bro, I just ran them down. I think I could have played even more aggressive. I could have gotten way more value there if I had sent it fully. But to be honest with you, these are like my first matches against the Mage meta, right? Like me getting used to this Mage Raccoon meta. And after losing like 12 matches in a row and dropping from Challenger, like this match, here's what I actually understood, right? Here's what I actually figured it out, what I have to do to carry these matches, what I have to do to deal with mages. And yeah, I got my Challenger back too. That's pretty funny. Anyway, so now that I know what to do with mages, now you know it too. Because it is very important to notice that kind of pattern and repeat it again and again. Like, look at my Ari, bro. What is happening, bro? Bro, just having fun, bro. Just for the love of the game, she just sends it there. Anyway, also, mid-game, now, more important, around minute 20, perfect CS, 10 CS, I wouldn't call it perfect, 10 CS. 10 CS per minute, pretty good. We are paying a lot of attention to go and get as many camps as possible without losing tempo. Still, with Infinity Edge now, we are very strong. We are going Runa because that is going to allow us to play more aggressive teamfight wise and also clear waves faster. Because believe it or not, waves are more important mid-game, late game. Why is that? Because you get more waves and you get more cannons, and those waves with more cannons provide more gold, so you can farm up and get strong way faster, you know? Way more important than early game. Again, this build is brainless build, okay? I'm actually doing this build because it does help me a lot to play this one out when I'm not feeling very 1v9, when I'm not feeling perfect. When I'm at 30%, 40%, 50%, this is the build to go. Because it doesn't require a lot of the skills, you know? It requires knowledge, it doesn't require mindless kiting, it does not requires for you to just go crazy 1v9. You just gotta follow the 3 rules and you can take over the match by following engages, as you can see here, by being mindful of what things you have to avoid, and snowballing by not dying. Simple as that, you know? So if you actually want to take away anything from this video, I would recommend start doing this, okay, against mages. If you are struggling to kite though, probably want to put a Muspin rune shard there in the middle and look for some Stormrazor first with a ghost. And brother, you just run them down. I promise you. That's how you deal with mages. You just run them down. You have an angle to a link like a madman, Severum Crescendo. You don't have an angle to a link, you don't have your ghost to chase them down and stay melee on them. Infernum auto attack into Infernum Q into Calibrum Ultimate. And one shot all raccoons, you know? So yeah. What can we do, bro? What else can we do but try, you know? Mages are meta now. Mages are almost every other match. What can a brother man do but try, dude, you know? Can't keep doing my best, bro. Anyway. Gravity auto attacks there and going back to the same mindset as you see. We clear bot lane, then we go mid lane, and then we're going bot lane again, trying to catch next wave and trying to push more. So it's pretty straightforward. Like we try to get as much waves as possible, we try to get as much value as possible, and the main reason why I'm allowed to step up here is because I got Severum Q into Crescendo. So if they were ever try to die there, I will send it and I will kill them all. The main problem there is that I wasn't sure where Tryndamere is. And as you can tell, there is no guide in Tryndamere. Like, look at that again. Yeah, I'm not guiding that, bro, right? That Darking Chicken is not gonna get kited, bro. So, I can only find if I know where Tryndamere is, and I know I'm not gonna get killed by that guy. But because that guy was doing pretty well, he's going lethality, I barely got any armor, he's just gonna one-shot me. With the rest, I can deal. With Tryndamere, I need to be mindful and not fight when he's there, or just guide him max range, you know? It's like we are all the time trying to fight around what we're good. If they are good at range, then we go melee range. If they are good at melee range, then we go max range, you know? That's the goal that you need to deal with. That's how you need to see this type of match. So far, we are trying to avoid a raccoon, but that doesn't mean that we don't play the game. We are still looking for angles, and we can see another angle here. Another Crescendo Calibrum angle. I'm waiting for him to engage. At the moment he commits the ultimate, Calibrum Q, Calibrum ultimate, and I try to get a Jarvan, flash, not get auto attack, and just by that, as soon as Tryndamere engages, as soon as Jarvan engages, I am ready to counter engage. But like I said before, you gotta wait, you gotta be mindful there of what is the win condition. The win condition was engaging on me, and they were gonna focus Pantheon. At the moment they actually used abilities on Pantheon, I send it and I chase them down, you know? Still respecting the range of Tryndamere. Always max range, right? Always max range if they are melee, and I cannot one-shot them with Crescendo. I cannot one-shot the immortal Tryndamere at all. So I even had the Sonjas there, as you can see, the Seeker Art Guard, ready to use if Tryndamere wanted to chase me. Oh good, and we just get a win. 17 kills, 1 dead, 278 minions at 27 minutes. Look at my team, bro, right? 1-6 Ambessa, 3-8 Viego, 3-4 Ari. Pantheon did great fight too, and I got 70 kills, 1 dead. So if this was useful for you, consider dropping a like and subscribing. And the main thing that you can take away from this is the mental. Full Ali mental, full 1v9 mental early game. Those mages need to get out of bottom, but you gotta show them, bro. You gotta show them how useless they are against Aphelios, okay? And then, if you wanna be more specific with the rules, just follow these 3 tiers. Avoid every single death. Second, farm every single minion. And third, punish every single mistake, okay? Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Bye bye.